right, good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to the second day of the Blockchain Fest 2022. Once again organized by Finexpo and on this occasion sponsored by Amber Group and NagaX. How are you doing this morning? Okay, I see you're alive today. Very, very well. It's a beautiful day in Limassol, Cyprus. We're streaming the event online once again, so big shout out to everyone watching us online. Like, share, subscribe, and support us in delivering more great content. Today the agenda is packed, guys. We're gonna have the long-awaited banking panel happening around lunchtime. Shortly after, Benjamin Bilski, CEO at Naga Group, will join us. How about that? And to top it all up, we have 2 cases of sparkly champagne for the people that ask questions and interact with the panelists. Also, the people watching us online will receive a surprise if you drop us nice comments, you subscribe to the channel, and you like the conference. Now, let's kick it off with the first panel of the day. We're going to talk about blockchain transforming the world. Obviously, it's a blockchain conference. What were you expecting? So I will invite the moderator of the panel to join me on the stage, Mario Nawfal, CEO at NFT Technologies. In your applause, please. Mario, good morning. How are you?
Good, man. Good.
Good. The stage is yours, and so is the audience. Good luck.
Thank you very much, everyone. We'll appreciate you being here. Good morning. And I'll be moderating this panel. I think it's a mistake for them to get me to moderate a panel, but it's too late now. So I introduce Andreas Livadiotis, CEO at X Valley. What's up, man? We got Vasilis, I'm not gonna say your last name, man. Charalambous. Yeah, that's not bad. Mike Charalambous, brothers. You guys are gonna argue now. And Aris Ioannou. Ioannou? My bad. Nice to meet you. All right, round of applause, and we'll kick it off. All right, so I'm gonna get straight to the point. When you answer the first question, just do a quick intro for a few seconds, and then we'll do outros at the end where you can pitch your business and what you're trying to do. So we'll start with Andreas. So they got the order wrong here. All right, so the question I have here is, blockchain is obviously disrupting a lot of industries, and there's a lot of hype now around NFTs and a lot of people like myself talking about the Metaverse. What industries are you interested in?
Thank you, Mario. Nice to see you, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Andreas Livadiotis, and I'm the CEO and founder of X Valley Technologies. We develop a crypto trading, online trading platform, and we also have a crypto payment gateway and everything you need to run a crypto brokerage. All right, so blockchain is already disrupting the many industries, banking, loans, payments. We have seen during the war also now that many countries have sent money to help Ukraine during the war. There was the only possibility to...
I did that myself.
Really?
Yeah, I sent to people because I have my friends' families all there, so I sent a lot of money to the Ukraine.
That's
and
amazing.
Today, this morning, no jokes, I don't interrupt. But sorry, this actually applies. This morning, my background is Lebanese, that's where I was born. So my father's side is all Lebanese, they're still in Lebanon. I sent money to them this morning via OTC, and I've done this multiple times.
Exactly. That is what blockchain can do in these days. And also, you can facilitate cross-border payments, which is very hard to do now. You need to be compatible with China, with Japan, and so on. But with blockchain, you can do that very easily, very cheap, no fees. And that is what X Valley can do to help you. Blockchain will also transform voting systems. We have heard it many times in undeveloped countries, in Russia, in America even. Trump was claiming that he was cheated in the last elections. But with a blockchain system, nobody can say, oh, the elections was not transparent. That is impossible. Everybody will have a voting certificate. Everybody will be verified.
That destroys his whole marketing strategy.
Sorry?
That destroys the whole marketing strategy of saying
of
elections.
Trump and
Trump
Biden.
And
okay,
others.
Sorry to disturb them.
Right, so we'll go to the next question. Vasilis, question I have for you is, okay, this question, I'm a partner at a law firm, but I still don't understand much about law, and I'm not deep in that space. But the regulatory framework in Cyprus, can you give us a brief update? Because when I first came to Cyprus and a few people invited me for lunch, as soon as I landed, all they talked about was this topic. Apparently it's a very hot topic here.
So thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having here. So I'm Vasilis Charalambous. I'm a lawyer and head of GZNG Tech. So what is GZNG Tech? It's one of the first technology departments in a law firm. We're based in Nicosia, and what we do is we mainly provide advice to public sector and private sector companies, everything you want about technology. So coming now to your question, I'm just going to be a bit brief, give you a brief summary on the legal aspect, specifically about blockchain, what's happening in Cyprus. So it all started with publication of the national strategy for blockchain in 2019, which led to the preparation and the publication of the distributed ledger technology umbrella legislation, which is still to be voted by the House of Representatives, and it will cover actually the introduction of blockchain in Cyprus, how evidence is going to be admitted, evidence on blockchain is going to be admitted to the court, and how registries, for example, on the land registry or the corporate registry are going to be managed, and in general, how blockchain is going to be introduced to the Cypriot legal system. During the last years, we had great support from the public sector and some examples of use cases, as we've seen municipalities using the blockchain to verify documents and their certificates. We recently, like last month, seen a tender from the Cyprus Energy Authority about the introduction of guidelines for the use of blockchain in the energy market.
Introductions of what, sorry?
The introduction of guidelines for the use of blockchain in the energy market. We also had bigger projects coming from the European Union, like the European Blockchain Services Infrastructure, which is a very big project currently running, and we had presentations in Cyprus as well last month. From the private sector now, we all know about the great university providing courses for years now, University of Nicosia, and educating about blockchain, which is also accepting fees in crypto as well. And we've seen through the last months that some big exchanges registered in Cyprus, like Binance and FTX. So some
FTX as well?
Yes. So some more are coming in Cyprus. But the main issue here, the main consideration I have with all the regulation aspect is how transactions on blockchain are going to be recognized by the Cypriot banking system. This is a crucial issue, and I believe that we're going to have a great discussion afterwards with the central bank. But I believe this is, in the end, this is something that is going to be resolved at the EU level, maybe through decisions from the European Central Bank or directives. So overall, Cyprus, it's, as you've heard, in a very good position, and have a lot of...
Well, you guys have Binance and FTX registering here, so I think you've done relatively well.
I hope that after France, that happened yesterday, next up is Cyprus, that's going to get the license for the crypto as a service providers.
Well, congratulations. We got your brother, Mike. Okay.
Brothers in arms.
Disagree with Vasilis about something. You guys are brothers. You have to... Where is Vasilis
Charalambous?
No, so Mike, I got a question from you here. So, okay, that one I understand better. Is how are brands considering NFTs in the short... Okay, that's a good one. So every brand is trying to do something in NFT space. I like to put people on the spot when the phone rings, but I won't do it here. So they're trying to take advantage of the hype. I talked about it briefly yesterday. They're all jumping in and trying to just launch some sort of NFT. I was listening to what Time magazine did in the space on the way here in the airport. So give me an idea. What are your thoughts, short-term, long-term? How are brands participating in the space? In the, I think it says NFT space. Yeah, NFT space.
Oh, yeah, perfect. So, hi everyone. I'm Mike. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of 3Dium. Before I respond, just to understand the kind of perspective and knowledge of the audience. So, how many of you do you actually own NFTs? Okay, cool. And how many of you have you ever browsed at least for a minute in any of the Metaverse worlds? Okay. hands are reducing a bit. So okay, okay, perfect. So 3Dium, just to understand what we're doing, is that we're building the supply chain of the metaverse, and we are a well-kept secret in London, in Paris, in the US, where we're based, and we help different brands to turn their products into 3D and AR assets, which they can then power different e-commerce and metaverse experiences to sell directly to consumers or directly to avatars. And we work with almost everybody, from Diageo, Farfetch, to Louis Vuitton, to Nike.
You work with
and New
Farfetch?
Balance. Yes. To answer, going back to answer to your question, basically, what brands think about NFTs? Have you ever walked onto a vending machine and you put your coin and you took something out?
A long time ago, yeah.
And that's what you expect, right? You expect you're going to put something and something's going to come out, and you don't care about what's happening in the background, right? What kind of engineering is happening. You just care that once you put something in, it's going to get you out what you chose.
And it doesn't get stuck.
Exactly. So that's the knowledge that brands have about NFTs and their current expectations about if they use NFTs on something, they should be making millions, right? That's how they're perceiving it. How we're trying to navigate them into this whole new era of NFTs and the new internet is that they should stop thinking NFTs as a mean of making money. They should understand that it's a smart contract, and it's basically a way of forming a long-term bond with your customers. And if a customer purchases your NFT, then you're no longer on a transactional level relationship with them, but you're now, in a way, forming a shareholder kind of relationship with them. Because by owning your NFT, it means they own shares in whatever value you're building. So the brands are now building a much more responsible or much more critical kind of experience when it comes to engaging with their audiences, because they're now investing their money not just in buying their products for their own personal usage, but for incrementally increasing their value in perpetuity over time. A lot of the brands start to understand that this is a whole new ecosystem of building loyalty, engagement, and community. And that's why they start seeing NFTs as a form of a CRM. So they're launching all these different initiatives on a test and learn, maybe launching digital-only wearables to buy for your avatars, or to buy the Adidas NFT that can unlock to you different real-life and metaverse experiences in a way for them to amass wallet addresses, avatar behaviors, consumer behaviors that will then allow them to forecast and dictate how they're going to be shaping up their commercial strategies in the future.
I think this is so first we got to talk, because
Absolutely.
I didn't know you know the guys at Farfetched, and I think we know a lot of the same people. Second, so I have to explain what you just explained to a board of directors at a public company. You don't know how difficult that can be. So the way I explain it, tell me if you disagree, is that NFTs are like a new foundation that you can build a stack upon, same as the internet. So it's not just launching an NFT, it's building an entire, and the metaverse is the same, it's building an entire ecosystem, an entire new model in which the monetization structure completely changed, how they engage with the brand completely changed, how they own a piece of whatever it is they're participating in. And an avatar, which is what everyone's doing, or an NFT drop, is like the first step in a journey that's beginning with something very, very boring.
Very well said.
I'll use, we talked, I think you guys were talking about Bored Apes earlier, inside and who isn't. So if you look at Bored Apes, and I'm one of the idiots that said, like, this stupid monkey picture, I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of CryptoPunks, because they were the first, so there's like some reason for it. But I didn't like the apes. I didn't, know the value of their community early on. But what they did is the picture of that silly monkey is step one of a much bigger vision, one that's worth billions and that could be worth a lot more. So that's, I think, any brand should look into it. You're building an entire new business model built on a foundation that's not called TCP/IP, it's not called the web, it's called NFTs, digital ownership. So I like that topic, and please, yeah, we have to talk afterwards. By the way, I keep making jokes about you and Vasilis being brothers. You're not brothers, are you?
Absolutely.
Oh, I messed it up. Oh, shit. Okay.
Well,
I should've-
we're
Metaphorical.
brothers in arms.
We're friends.
Okay, cool. Well, you have the same last name. You're sitting next to each other.
Everybody in
so-
Cyprus has
Actually,
the
it's
same.
7 pages in the contact book in Cyprus.
Imagine like it was a typo. It'd be pretty weird. All right, so we'll go to Aris. Okay, let me see. I got 2 questions here. Okay, so we'll go back I'm going to go to the second question first, because I'll go back. It's the question that Andreas answered earlier. So what industries, again, do you think will be disrupted the most with blockchain? So you mentioned, voting as being one of them. What was the other one? You said voting. You said
Payments.
banking payments, yeah, and I agreed with you there. So is it same ones, or you got different ones on your list?
Hello everyone, my name is Aris and I am the founder of Coinavalon, which is a blog in the space where basically I try to explain and elaborate about concepts, trends that are coming into the space, how the concepts are applied into projects, and then how people can actually use these different kind of concepts, because now we all know that there's kind of a technical knowledge that people need to have, so I'm trying to break this technical barrier with Coinavalon. My background, I have a technical background, and I've been working for many years in the digitalization of the banking sector. Now, when it comes to your question and the trends that I see coming up, I'm mostly interested into the decentralization space and the public blockchains. And some trends that I see coming up is, for example, pre-fi. Pre-fi is the idea of basically bringing privacy to the public smart contract platforms. Many people correlate privacy with money laundering or, let's say, illegal activities, but in reality, it's something that we all need. When we use the platform, we don't want anyone to know what type of transactions we executed in the past.
Yes.
If you're an individual, for example, and let's say you use, let's call Ethereum, and you do some sort of investments, and then you go for a dinner with a friend, and then you want to send him some funds to pay for dinner, then this friend will know all the transactions that we executed in the past. So this is not something that we need. We need our privacy.
Have you heard of, I love this topic, have you heard of a company called Panther Protocol?
Yes.
Yes, I think we're investors in Panther, or we're trying to be investors in Panther Protocol, but they're doing exactly this. I think so these are this is a use case that no one will really think of. Imagine on the blockchain, beautiful thing about the blockchain, it's all transparent. But do you really want all your transactions to be, I don't want to be all my transactions to be transparent. I don't mind 95% of them are transparent, but the 5% I don't want anyone to know about. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is that people correlated privacy in the private blockchains with illegal activity, but actually it's not. It's something that we all need.
I want to know what my competitors are spending. So I'm an e-com. I know if the competitors bought a product from another factory, I'll know what that factory is, and I'll go and I'll buy the same product. You can't expect the world to function without privacy. I don't mind most things not being private. I don't have nothing to hide. But there's business intelligence, for example, competitor intelligence. So yeah, I think it's an incredible use case. So do you think that's a big use case? You guys, you're part of a business, or you know of a business other than Panther Protocol doing this?
No, I'm not part of a business, but it's a trend that I'm closely follow, and I have in mind some projects, but okay, I don't want to mention out all the projects.
No, mention, because I'll write them down. If anyone sees me on my phone, I'm taking notes. What are the projects?
Okay, one of the projects that I'm closely, let's say, looking into is a secret network, because it's the most developed network right now, and I think there are already projects working on it, building on it, different kind of protocols.
Yep. Any others?
Any others? I think another project is called Dero. I haven't looked deep into it.
How do you spell that?
Sorry?
How do you spell Dero?
D-E-R-O.
Okay.
We're definitely going to send you an invoice afterwards.
Everybody should take
Yeah.
For an invoice.
So tell I'd love intros, but this is what I do at events. This is how I get introduced to some of the big, I'm not saying those are great investment opportunities. They might be, not the best, but I'll be very interested in getting introductions. I'm being serious. And look, I'm moderating a panel, but if I get nice introductions.
Making money while you do.
All right, so we'll go to the next one, Andreas. So I'll go to Andreas now. All good, man? Thank you for the two companies. So what's the interconnectivity between, okay, that's a good one. Real world and metaverse assets. I'll tell you how I got introduced to that space, because it's a fascinating one. There's one example of that I'm going to say in probably my keynote later. I wrote it down. is that imagine going to the airport. I was in Turkey when I thought of this. Imagine you go to the airport and you know these cash converters, you convert one currency to another. I was in Turkey, and in Turkey you need cash a lot of times. So I wanted some cash, and it was a nightmare. But I'm thinking, like, imagine those same places. You could actually give them, like, $1,000 and they'll give you any crypto you want, or a metaverse native crypto that you can start using in the digital world, and you can do that at an airport. So that's one obvious example. There's others. I'm not going to sit there naming them, but what do you think about that space?
You are way ahead of time.
Well, yeah, I know this is
Right.
years
So
away, but it's interesting.
Please make the question so the audience understand what we are speaking about.
Yeah, so the question, I think I mentioned the question, I'll mention it again. So interconnectivity between the real world and the metaverse world.
All right. So I will not go wild and say all the fantasy things you can do in the metaverse and the real world. So I will tell you the boring stuff first. Most of the offices will be transformed into a physical metaverse thing where you can work with your employees, or the managers using a VR set, and you can have meetings from different countries. You walk into the office from your home, and you deliver your assignments without having to leave your house, basically. And also, the VR training will be implemented using the metaverse. So you have to go to the university, you have to go to school, you have to learn a new thing. You don't have to attend the actual class. You will learn everything through a VR AI assistant. And you can call her any time you want, you can ask her any question you want, and she will be able to reply. And also, you will have the offices, the shops, the haircut. You will go online, you will choose a haircut. Your haircut will be made on your avatar, and then you will attend the hair salon, and you will get your new hair as you order online. Nike is already doing this with shoes. You can try your shoes in the metaverse, and you will get it delivered. And many, many shops, Mike will tell you, he's working with very huge fashion brands that you can get your clothes, your watches, anything you like online, and they will be delivered to your house. And the list keeps growing.
What's that company, Mike? The example that was just given?
Well, we're doing that with Bulgari watches, with New Balance, Adidas. All these guys are playing into this connected commerce way where you can buy your physical products through your shop. You can also buy the digital one to dress your avatar in whichever virtual world you're going to play with. Or if you are browsing and navigating and voyaging in different metaverse worlds and you encounter any of their products, you can then click to purchase that digital product, which also allows you to have a physical redemption. And then it triggers a protocol that speaks with their ERP, and you can receive that digital product you purchased for your avatar straight to your home. It's still early days because we're testing it, but it's actually the future of meta commerce, basically.
Do you know a company called DressX?
Yes,
Yeah.
so we deliver all their 3D assets.
Small world.
But we are a small cartel, everybody in this space, so
Yeah.
we control
Do you know
it.
Faith? He was here, Wahid?
Faith Tribe.
Yeah,
Yes,
he was here yesterday.
one of their investors is also an investor in 3DM. So,
I probably know that investor. Wahid was here yesterday.
But what I want to say here for the audience is that even for the brands and a lot of people, they're asking us, oh, let's metaverse this and metaverse that. And metaverse is not, and Andreas, I don't want to hijack what you mentioned, but it's not actually where I go on a virtual world and I order something and it comes to physical life. Metaverse is a whole new era of consumer behavior, of user behavior. And it's the era where all of us are now willing to spend $1, $100, $1,000 to own something digitally that we cannot tangibly enjoy it. And that digital ownership unlocks us different opportunities, both in the metaverse, in real life. So it just gives you access across multiverses, if you like. So that's the whole notion of metaverse. It's not the rainbows and the clouds that you build on Unity and Unreal Engine. This is just the means to the end. And I think the most important aspect about the whole notion of the metaverse is that anyone can build anything. Anyone can be rewarded in the ways that they interact and they transact and they engage with anything. That's the metaverse, basically. It's a whole new notion of internet, of social commerce, of social engagement, of building interhuman relationships, basically.
And then one thing I've always said is that the businesses that will do well are the ones that start natively to Web3 rather than try to copy what they do on Web2 into Web3.
Right, yep, absolutely.
Aris, we'll go the question to you. Let's see what we have. Where do you think blockchain will be useful in the near future? I know we've asked that question in different ways already, but we haven't asked it to you.
Yeah. So it's nice to be talking about all these fascinating use cases in financial and NFT, supply chain, all these amazing use cases we've been talking the whole conference. But I really hope in the future blockchain will be able to fight corruption. And actually, this is what really excited me in the beginning when I started reading and researching about blockchain. So if we manage to implement blockchain in governance, then we may have benefits in fundamental aspects of the society, such as in identity, trust in institutions, transparency, and the management of personal data. So we need to harness all these tools that were provided from the technology to make the people get more engaged in democracy and decision making. And we can use blockchain for use cases such as voting, such as data on blockchain, document certifications, anything that is coming out from an authority. This can be really useful, and maybe Cyprus can be one of the first use cases in fighting corruption via blockchain.
Everyone shills projects. You're shilling an entire government. I love it.
Yes, no, it's really nice if you think about it.
But also like what you're saying, is like the more things we move away from human control into being controlled by code, the better it is.
Yes.
Because then you don't have the
No, because
corruption
we've already seen how this thing works. The trust among people. Now maybe we have to trust the code or have a balance between the two.
That's an
Give it a
interesting
try.
topic. How much balance should we have? I think very
That's
little.
Yes.
All right, so we'll go, Aris, we'll go a question to you. So we asked you before what industries you think will be disrupted in the future. Now, again, it's a question, they're all very similar questions that I have, but trends you see in the space. So you told me a few interesting businesses in the last, when you asked the last question, but what are some other trends you see in the space?
Okay, some of the trends that I see in the space, I think some of them we've also seen yesterday and discussed a lot yesterday. One is GameFi, right? Because the concept of blockchain applies very easy to games. For example, for all games, you have fungible and non-fungible assets, and basically you represent the economy of a game on the blockchain. And what we see is many, let's say, companies and projects raising a lot of money this year and then last year, and I think it's something that we should expect in the next couple of years to see, let's say, full-blown game experience on the blockchain. Another trend that I see a lot coming up is basically decentralized social media, which I personally believe this is something that affects every single one of us in this room, and maybe not in this room, but everyone. Because with the Web2, the social media platforms that we have, we pretty much lost first our privacy, we lost control of our data, our profiles, and the social media platforms pretty much have the power to influence our behaviors and our decisions by monetizing on our data. And we had some cases in the past, I don't know how many of you know about Cambridge Analytica, where basically they even had the power to influence elections of United Kingdom and the United States. So what we should expect from social media platforms is first, we get our privacy back, we get our data ownership back, we decide how to monetize on our data, we decide who is going to use our data and how our data is going to be used. And what I also see is the idea of having, let's say, the blocking as a new concept where different projects can create new experiences, new social media experiences. So you are not going to have one type of platform, but you are going to have many different kinds of platforms leveraging the underlying data and provide different experiences to their communities and to their users.
And I love the two use cases you mentioned. So first one's gaming. I've talked a lot about this. Like gaming is like the early adoption of the metaverse is going to be in gaming because it just makes sense. Gamers are already living their life in the metaverse. And we talked about using blockchain for voting earlier. There's a game called Cities Heroes where you can actually vote in the game to select a president and have a whole political system. And then you mentioned decentralized social. You've heard of DSO? It was called Big Cloud. I love DSO. I'm a big investor there, and they have another one, so a platform called CloudFeed. I think now they're called DSoFi. So anyone that's interested in decentralized social, I'm biased, I'm an investor, but they're the biggest decentralized social platform called DSoFi. So definitely worth checking out. But yeah, man, love your answers again. So we'll go to the audience. If the organizers can, like, maybe put the names of the moderators, if the audience wants to ask us a specific moderator question, or panelists. But for audience members, do you have any questions, anything at all, whether it's a company we mentioned or a specific question? Got a gentleman here, do you have a mic? No mic. Ah, perfect, thank you so much.
It's free champagne, guys.
Uh-huh. Go on.
There's this gentleman there with the black t-shirt. Yeah, put your hand up. Yeah, there you go.
Hello, I have two questions. First, before I forget, about 3Dium, if I'm not mistaken, just so that I can understand it better. I know if it's kind of a similar project, Boson protocol, if I'm not mistaken, just to understand, it's kind of the same utility in the space to also have some kind of fashion weeks or anything like that in the current metaverses.
Yeah, so Boson protocol is actually our partners, and we power everything for the Boson guys. And their protocol is the one that is being tied on all the digital assets which we're serving and selling across different metaverse worlds so that this connected commerce end-to-end experience can come to life. And Boson is basically either we bring the brands to them or they bring the brands to our platform. They generate all the digital assets, tie in the ability to sell, and then they publish them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, a small comment about the comment about the transparency and why it might not seem like to all of you. What I mean about the comment that you made earlier about you don't want all your transactions to be transparent. I mean, why is that exactly? What I mean, all my transactions at the moment are visible, yeah, but no one can tie them to me. Or even if someone can tie my transactions to me, there are ways that you can avoid it with security token, mixers, and all that. And how about transparency actually being the more important part of the blockchain, and that is what provides us the trust we need in the space.
So I'll be very brief. I'll just say that, yes, I'm a big fan of transparency, and everyone likes to say, privacy is dying, privacy is dying. Now, privacy is already dead, and privacy is really overrated. That's my opinion. But at the same time, we've given examples of transactions we want them to be private. I'm sure you think of transactions you have. And you said there's ways to use mixers and all that and privacy coins to do that. I don't even know how to use mixers, and I'm in crypto. So a lot of people imagine the average Joe. So I think what we're talking about is protocols that make it a lot more user-friendly. Is that a good way to answer it?
Yes, and I think there are use cases where you need the transparency, but there are use cases where you need your privacy. And I think for day-to-day use, we need our privacy. For example, you go and pay for goods, or let's assume you are a business owner, right? And you have suppliers that basically you pay, you have clients that they pay you, or you pay, let's say, your partners, suppliers, and so on. You don't want everyone to know about your business. So you need to have privacy. Of course, transparency is also important for, let's say, some other use cases. If I were to mention one, maybe a non-profit fund that can also be represented as a DAO. Everyone is contributing to this fund so that this fund might have a cause of, let's say, helping people that their houses were burned. We had the case in Cyprus. So you want to see, okay, we all provided, the public provided funds, and then the people who provided the funds, they want this transparency to see how the funds are spent. So I think there's not one solution fits all problems. It's like, okay, we need to have solutions for each kind of problems that we need to face.
Yeah. Maybe, if I may, maybe in the end we have to accept that transparency is the price we pay for decentralization. okay? So we have to understand that this is a new technology that came really after all the data protection legislation, regulations, even the GDPR was still in the making when Satoshi Nakamoto was developing the code for Bitcoin. So we have to distinguish the two. At sometimes the two are contradictory. So it's really what you want to do, how you want to use this technology, and just not discard all the Bitcoin cryptocurrency and blockchain notion because of privacy. And on the other hand, it's again, what we say as lawyers, it's about balance. But maybe this technology, in the end, it's more about transparency. We need to harness all the tools from this technology.
Just on that note, I was on a different panel a couple of months ago. And truly, even in blockchain, you can really mitigate any sort of transparency if you want to. There was this algorithm that was created, and I was absolutely blown away by it. So you can transfer a certain amount of ETH from one wallet to the other. You apply this algorithm, then it takes all that transfer of ETH that you put it into that wallet, circulates it into 100,000 different wallets in 0.001 ETH, and then recirculates it back into a different wallet. And then it's practically impossible to trace where that transaction came from or where did it go.
Is that how a mixer works? Is that the same thing or different?
Yes, I think they work in a similar way.
So, you know, transparency, it's very vague.
Yeah. So I said the gentleman that you had your hand up, probably take it as the last question, because I think we finish in 3 minutes, don't we? 3 minutes left, yeah. So you had a question? Cool. I'll be quick. Here you go. You can use my mic.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I have to say that you owe me 20 minutes because I spent trying to figure out how these two are brothers. Besides the glasses, they are both men. Yeah. So my question mostly is like decentralized social media. So when it comes to transparency, privacy, and all these things, because you also mentioned criminality or corruption. What concerns is that we have, for example, privacy versus censorship. So how is that privacy gonna affect how mean or how criminal we can act on decentralized social media? So from my end, it raised another concern. So if there is no censorship, there is no privacy, or there is privacy, so everybody can say whatever they want.
Freedom of speech, actually. This is at the top.
Correct.
So we start from that. We have freedom of speech, and then you have decentralization. But okay, in some situations, maybe you have to delete something from social media that it's harassment or it says something bad about someone. So yes, there are maybe situations that you have to, how do you say, change the code, let's say. These are the only situations when we have to find the tools that we will be able to do this in these extreme situations.
I think some of the proposals that I see that are coming in this space is to have some sort of different communities that are running as DAOs. And then you have mechanisms where people, they can upvote or downvote, like Reddit, basically, different kind of posts. And then if something is flagged as illegal, then the decentralized governance can decide what type of content is legal, what is illegal, and they can basically isolate the bad actors. So basically, a combination of using game theory and kind of game mechanics to kind of isolate these bad behaviors.
And I was very deep in that space. Again, we talked about DSO, which was called BitClout. And, nothing is binary. Decentralization is great, but at the same, and freedom of speech is great, but there's certain things that we all agree we don't want them, to be said or done. There's a silly example that I always give, but it makes sense. You don't want videos of people dying or getting heads chopped off. Freedom of speech, you can post that, but no one wants to see that content, or at least most people agree. So that's why decentralization is great, but at least for now, partial decentralization is better, because certain things need a small level of centralization, at least for now, until we can code that in and then we can be completely decentralized. And then DSO had that problem early. So I was very early in DSO and was very active. They're still active there. I was posted every day. And they've had that problem. The platform, the front end was centralized. The blockchain is meant to be decentralized. That's all decentralization is a process. And anyone could build a front end on the back end. And that front end could be completely decentralized, partially decentralized, or completely centralized. So you just have to keep moving up the stack, and decentralization will diminish as you move up that stack. I hope that makes sense. And anything else to add on that point before we wrap it up?
I think Elon Musk is trying to do that with Twitter now, and Jack Dorsey is starting a new company based on blockchain and freedom of speech.
Yeah, Elon Musk screwed me with that because we were happy that Twitter is not decentralizing because then the company I invested in could do well. But if Twitter starts to decentralize, that's going to be tough.
Yes.
But yeah, so I will conclude now. I think we're done. Very briefly, where can they learn more about you? So for me, just Google my name, Mario Nawfal. Andreas?
The same for me, and X-Valley Technologies, of course.
Perfect. You can put maybe the names, organize this very briefly so they can see the names and they can write them down in case they want to message anyone, if possible.
You can find our law firm online. Yes.
Yeah, if you have a question, we can ask it at the end when we're done. But go ahead, man. Mike?
Okay. Also for myself, you can find my LinkedIn profile and you can add me, you can follow me, you can ask me any questions that you want.
Mike?
A wise man once told me that if someone really wants to find you, they'll find you.
Nice one.
I'm going to use that next panel. I like that. All right, everyone. So I appreciate your time. We'll probably be there for questions afterwards, and we'll see you a bit later. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, give it up for Mario Nawfal, Andreas Livadiotis, Vasilis Charalambous, Mike Charalambous, and Aris Ioannou. Gentlemen, where does the champagne go? Where does the champagne go? You had 3 questions. No, man, not for you, for the audience. So, where does it go? The gentleman over there or the gentleman over here? Go on, you choose.
We should form a DAO and make a voting.
That's going to take too long.
I'll go with the gentleman here.
Boom, there we go. First bottle of champagne, guys, for the second day of the Blockchain Expo. There we go. Right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Right, brilliant panel. Brilliant panel. All right, how did you find the first panel? Interesting, isn't it? That's how we started yesterday as well. Now, we're going to continue with the next panel. We have a crypto entrepreneur which will tell us more about DAOs, Web3, and NFTs. So let's give it up for Eloisa Marchesoni, guys. Again, I'm inviting ghosts on the stage. Where's Eloisa? No. Oh my God. There we go. Eloisa Marchesoni. Can you join us, please? Uh-oh. Gentlemen, we have an issue. All right. So what are we doing now? What's the procedure? No one told me this. So I have to improvise. What are we doing? Right. Is George Agathangelu around? No. All right. I know where George is. Okay, so let's do this. Let's have a cigarette, everyone, and then I'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Is that all right? All right, but please come back in 15 minutes. Cheers.